Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to yet another investor briefing today. This week we will be CEO at JMMB Group Limited, responsible for the overall performance and charting the strategic direction of the group. His financial expertise has not only benefited the JMMB Group, but also benefited the Jamaican financial sector. Keith serves as president of the PSOJ. He's also served as vice president of the PSOJ. He's a past president of the Jamaica Securities Dealers Association. And he continues to contribute to services in Jamaica through various roles, including his current appointment as chairman of EPOC, that's the Economic Program and Oversight Committee. And he was recently awarded with a National Honors Award in the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander Class for his exceptional service in the field of finance, business, youth empowerment, and community development. Today, Keith will be giving you an investor briefing on JMMB Group. Join me in welcoming him to our virtual series. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. You know, when Gary Peart and Chris Berry call you, you have to show up, okay?
Thank you. Speaking of Gary Peart and Christopher Berry, we have with us in studio Gary Peart, and online I expect Christopher Berry to be joining us any moment now.
Good afternoon, Katie. Thank you for being here. Good afternoon, all.
And welcome, Chairman.
Hey, Barry's here too.
Hey, everyone.
You're on
welcome,
mute, Barry.
Kitty.
No, his volume is low.
Good to see you.
Okay, great. Keith, what do you have for us today? I gather you have a presentation of some sort to make.
Yeah, I'm going to try and I have a presentation for you guys that I'll try and run through quite quickly because so we can get into the more conversational and really get into some give you guys a sense of what the JMMB group is about, where we're going, our strategic plans, our strategic efforts, what makes JMMB tick, you know, what we know how you know what's our outlook, you know, and so I'll share with you today, and I have to at the end of this session I want to show you. I would like you all to get the value in JMMB at the end of the day.
Excellent. Go right ahead, Keith.
Okay. So we're going to give you show you JMMB group at a glance, and where we have 15 companies right across the group operating in 3 countries for now. We have over 352,000 clients. Total assets under management is 400 billion. Funds under management, $408 billion. Okay. But we are positioned as an integrated financial services entity. Now, where we are moving away is moving from a silo approach of running businesses in terms of banking, investments, and insurance, and cap markets, and monetary remittances. We have integrated all our services into one holistic package of solutions for our clients. So JMMB sells financial solutions. We don't sell a deposit. We don't sell just equities. We don't just sell a bond. We sell financial solutions. We sell we determine the needs of the client, the goals of the client, and we design solutions, portfolios to meet their needs. So we are goal-oriented, solution-oriented, packaging of solutions for clients. And what we do is we pull from our suites of products and services from investment, banking, insurance, and funds management. So our approach is a segment approach. So therefore, we focus around our retail, our corporate, and our SMEs. So what we do is we don't have just say a corporate banker or a corporate investment person. Every financial relationship person or relationship manager at JMMB sells products and solutions across the gamut of investments, banking, insurance, etc., as I just said. Delivery channels, in-branch, digital. We also have a resource center that we're built out for SMEs because SMEs at this juncture in Jamaica's history need a lot of support. And on that note, I really like to thank Mayberry for their support of the PSOJ Access to Finance project. Mayberry is a major sponsor of this project. Mayberry gave us over $8 million to fund this. And it's so important for the SMEs because SMEs drive over 50% of Jamaica's GDP, 70 to 80% of Jamaica's employment, yet they only access 10% of Jamaica's available credit. So this has been an effort for us, and we really got a lot of support from Mayberry on this, and I like to really thank and acknowledge them for that.
Thank you, Keith.
For 2019-20, we had the first APO in Jamaica. Mayberry, you can correct me if this is right because this is your guy, this is your expertise. But we believe that we did the first APO, additional public offer. It was over 92% subscribed, over $20 billion, and we took $12.3 billion from that $20 billion. And we're actually very proud of this achievement. And we work closely with partners like Mayberry, MCB Cap Markets, and all of these various players. But JMMB has a huge client base that actually drives our public offers. We acquired 22.5% of Sagicor Financial Group, and we're the single largest shareholder in the Sagicor group of companies. We booked negative goodwill or gains of $2.8 billion. We have received dividend payments of $222 million since acquisition. And moving. Impact on JMMB, the value at the financial year end is $35 billion. Contribution in earnings for 4 months is $192 million. I'm trying to get this thing off my screen because I'm not seeing the whole screen. 1 second. And one-off gain of $2.8 billion, as I said before. The acquisition price was US $250 million. And we were able to close this acquisition last year, 2019-20 financial year. In terms of our growth, we have moved into banking across our three markets. You know, JMMB started as an investment house, and we have since diversified our revenue streams across banking, insurance, and our capital markets area, funds management. We bought Jamaica Unit Trust. So we have built out the whole integrated solutions. But banking is where we have put a key focus because we have a very large client base. Our current market share of loans in Jamaica is about 6%, but we're growing a lot faster than market. Our rate of growth of our loan portfolio is 48% year over year. And while the market grew at about 16.3%. In Trinidad, very small market share, we have to do a lot of work in this market. 40% rate of growth in our loan portfolio in P&T, and really outstripping market of 7.7%. The DR, 7% market share in the savings and loan classification, rate of growth of 53%, average market rate growth is 12%. Funds under management grew 21% year over year from $333 billion to $408 billion, again outstripping market. Some key products that we launched this year, we launched our Visa debit card. We have launched in Trinidad our JMMB Express Finance Trinidad company. This is using the merchant bank vehicle. So we have a commercial bank and a merchant bank in Trinidad. We have used the merchant bank vehicle to house consumer finance. And consumer finance is for loans of less than 40,000 TT that get approvals in less than 24 hours. We have over, and this within a year and a half, we have over 6,000 clients, and we have now broken into profitability, and we have up to 5% market share in Trinidad of this consumer finance product. In our SMEs, we launched a new credit adjudication framework, a new in-branch partnership structure, relationship managers for SMEs. We have a resource center that works along with the small and medium enterprises, and we are part of a whole ecosystem. So we partner with players in the ecosystem, First Angels, DBJ, JBDC, and all of these. And I think we have an upcoming relationship with Supreme Ventures, which is to be announced. And we're launching specific solutions which are customized for small and medium enterprises. Again, we also launched our Easy Access account, and I must say, because this is the lowest fee transactional account in Jamaica, our Easy Access account. We also got rated by Caracris, so our Jamaica rating in US in a JMA, a single A for US, and A+ for the Jamaican dollar rating. This is the Jamaica rating, and it was reaffirmed in September 2020. Our fund vehicle, what we call our SAFI, our mutual fund vehicle in the Dominican Republic, was rated A- in May 2020. Net profit, this is our growth year over year, 3.8 billion to 7 billion for 2019-20. A significant, the negative goodwill contributed significantly to this number. How we break out our country and business line: Jamaica contributes 85% of operating profit, Trinidad 9%, and DR 6%. Banking and related services 26%, financial and related services 71%, 3% other. And as I discussed earlier, funds under management, the growth of 338 to 408. Move along. So when we got hit by COVID-19 and there was so much uncertainty and fear and no one knew where this was going, how we responded was we had to really look firstly to really protect our capital, firstly protect our clients, protect our capital, protect our liquidity, and to put in our business continuity efforts, around and manage our expenses, because no one knew exactly where this was going. And since then, we have been able to reassess, and with the economy opening up somewhat in all three countries, and go back to the previous slide, with the economy opening up in all three countries, we're able to now flex and focus on growth. And we're happy to say we're almost at pre-COVID levels of growth, and we are hoping to exceed pre-COVID levels of growth for the year. So we are rebounding nicely. There are efficiency gains which we have because our operating expenses actually fell for the first quarter. We hope to roll over those efficiency gains into the new normal, less brick and mortar, work from home, all the efficiencies gained through digitization. And how we now rethink a business and operating model in terms of how do we go forward, in terms of how across electronic channels, brick and mortar, digital processes, that is something that we're focused around. As I said, these were the areas, business continuity, and I'm happy to say that our growth levels are, as I said before, almost at pre-COVID levels. Our Q1 financial results, net profit was $780 million, NII was $2.42 billion. That was actually up significantly year over year. Operating profit, $1.12 billion. Net profit was actually down. For the quarter, our portfolios were impacted. As we know, asset prices were really hit in the first quarter. Since that, we have seen a rebound in asset prices, and our normal gain trading activities, we have been able to ramp that up since then. Sagicor, having a tough year, the Sagicor Financial Group having a tough year. We actually had to take a loss in the first quarter of 8.9, or share of loss of 8.9 billion. Value at the end of the quarter was 36.2 billion, and dividends received 209 million for that period. Okay, we're almost done, guys, almost. Total assets at the end of the quarter were 431 billion, 8% growth over for the first quarter. Loans and advances for the first quarter, 3%. Annualized that. Customer deposit, 5% growth, and repos up 11%. So as we move forward, we will continue to focus on our business development activities. We do have acquisitions in our pipeline. We have an active pipeline of acquisitions across the region, and we continue to work them through the pipeline, through our stage gate process. We continue to build out our revenue and risk diversification across the region, and growing new business lines, example, the consumer finance, and funds management in other jurisdictions. So as we said, we're looking to outside of or even our geographic limitations in terms of the 3 countries we are in. We're looking at other countries at this point in time. So there are some countries that are will looking to grow at GDP levels of over 20% in South America somewhere, but we are looking to see how we position ourselves. We definitely want to continue building on our return on equity for our shareholders, and we expect that our strategy will continue to see us continue to grow in at the group level, and at the country level, and at the business line level, and at the segment level. Stockholders' equity as at 31st March 20 was 41 billion. Our book value per stock unit, and this was impacted by asset prices coming off somewhat with a fair value reserve. Book value was at $20 at the end of March. As we move forward, dividends that were paid for the year was 867 million for the financial year, ending March 20. Earnings per share was up from $2.34 to $3.99 per share. And this is how we kind of stack up against market. JMMB Group against our peers. JMMB Group is trading at 8.7 times earnings with a price to book. This is at October 26 of 1.26. And if you look at us against the rest of the market, JMMB has the lowest PE of the financial sector companies, and JMMB Group Limited has the second lowest price to book of financial sector companies. So we think we represent great value at this point in time. We have a bright future ahead of us. We are continuing on our growth path, and we are very optimistic about the future, even while we continue to face the uncertainty of the pandemic. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Really appreciate that. I'm very impressed. Maybe annual report to do so as well too. It's really impressive. You mentioned that you guys are now in 4 countries, Chris. I know of 3. What's the 4th one?
Keith.
No, right now we have a presence in Central America because we have moved our former country manager from the Dominican Republic, and we have a new country manager in Juan Jose, and we have now Guillermo Arancibia. Gary and Chris would have met Guillermo in the DR. Guillermo is now in Costa Rica, and we're looking at Central American region with a focus around building out a presence right there now. And we do have some things in the pipeline right now.
Excellent, excellent. So what is the driving force behind the company's success, Keith?
Well, at the end of it, my mother started this company 28 years ago. And it was founded on what she called the vision of love. And, when I first came to JMB, my mother brought me here as a trader. She said, "You're a hustler, Keith. Come in, man. Come in and let's make some money." And I said, "Okay, focus on the client first and money will come. Focus on taking care of the client and money will come." So we have always focused around what we call financial partnership, being in the world of the client, And we have built up so therefore, goal-oriented, solution-oriented is always a discovery conversation with the client to identify what are their met and unmet needs and to determine how do we design solutions for them. That is what works for us. So we're not about just telling you buy this stock or buy this bond and sell this bond. No, we're about designing solutions, medium term, long term, stick to it, getting stick to it from our clients because they're in here for the long haul. You know what I mean? So that works for us. So financial partnership works for us. We also built up quite an active trading culture. You have people like myself and Julian Muir who are former traders, and Kwame Brooks and a whole bunch of guys. So we have a trading culture at JMMB, and I used to argue with Gary. Gary said, "Keith, that's a core business line for you guys." And I said, "No, Gary, I cannot put pot on fire for it because I don't know where the markets are going to go." And he says, "Keith, look at your performance over the years, and you need to put some of those into your core business." You know what I mean? And so we finally did that. Gary, thanks for pushing that.
I'll send you the invoice.
All right.
I always thought your business was built on love. Gary, how do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about JMMB. God bless Joan Duncan and Keith, and condolences to you and your family and the passing of your dad, DK. But the question is, how do you reconcile a business grown on love with the cut and thrust of making money? You talk about hustlers and traders and things. How do you reconcile that? Because I think that has been the legacy of the great Joan Duncan.
That's correct. When she all got us together in a room, when the company was about, including Julian Muir.
Yes.
Julian Muir is a big love guy, okay?
I don't know about that. You're trying to destroy his profile.
We had to design what we wanted our company to look like. What kind of relationships we wanted inside of our company. What was the relationships we wanted with our clients? What was the relationship we wanted with our environment? What was that relationship we wanted with our country? And we designed that. And it was based on mutual respect and unconditional love for each other. Now, that is the basic philosophy of JMMB. Now, once you start from there, then when you enter into a conversation, the conversation is different with the client, with your team member, with your board. It's a different kind of conversation because it's always constructive and solution-oriented. We're coming from a positive place.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if we're not coming from that positive place, then you're going to get called on it,
So you have enough love
and it works.
So you have enough love and enough money. God bless you. Julian, big up.
Well, Julian, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. Chairman Berry, I gather you're itching with a question for either Julian or for Keith, but preferably for Keith.
Yes, Keith.
You have to get the chairman to come off mute.
Chris, you need to speak a bit louder or come off of mute.
There you go.
Well done.
So, Chairman Keith, so you sit in
Are you hearing?
many different hats. What's your, you and I have been in this thing a long
I'm not
time.
hearing Chris.
And
Chris, we're not hearing you.
Can you turn up your volume a little bit, Chris? I think your volume's a little bit low.
no, it's up.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
It's ready now.
Okay. Yes, Keith, we have seen so many bad times in Jamaica, crises, so to speak. And, people are out there panicking now and worrying about the future. But you and I have been through several of them. What do you have to say to people that would, give them the steadfastness of purpose not to be a worrywart right now?
Dan, I think you have to repeat the question for me. I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Yes, I think Chris is asking, what would you say to people who are worried about the difficult times we are going through now? He knows you guys have both been through many challenges in the past, and so he just wanted your words of advice for people who are worried at this point in time.
Well, we are where we are. I think, what we need to focus on as a private sector is we need to stay in our lane and to really look for the opportunities and invest in our country. Invest where those opportunities are. The world is changing. How is it now that we adapt to this new normal? Where are the growth opportunities? You know what I mean? We have seen supply chain disruption. We see change in consumer behavior. How do we now adapt and how do we invest so that we can start returning jobs to our people? We lost over 60,000 jobs since March. Unemployment rate has gone to 12.8%. It's a private sector now. We can't look to the government all the time. Private sector needs to step up our game and make those investments to create jobs and create wealth for our country. So we can't be living in the world of fear and uncertainty and anxiety. We have to live in the fear of what is possible in this environment. So that is where we are, and we have to keep each other safe. You know what I mean? We have to keep each other safe. We're in a new world. So, until they find that vaccine and until that they achieve herd immunity with that vaccine, we're going to be in the world of COVID, and we have to learn to live with COVID. We are looking to continue to grow our profitability through this period. We had a tough first quarter, but we're looking to rebound nicely. And we're looking to grow our profitability in this period. We're not going to be living in that world of, we're not sure where this thing is going, and maybe we need to dumb down our profits, or no. We are looking to grow. Yeah. So opportunities are there. We're going to find them. Opportunities are in various sectors in other countries. This is when you buy beat up assets. JMMB is a beat up asset right now. You guys should buy it up. You should order your traders to buy JMMB shares right now at $29. Is that a big discount? That's the first thing you must do.
I totally agree. Moving along a little bit, Keith, tell me, how has the commercial banking license you guys have benefited the group operations to date?
Well, us in both Trinidad and DR, having that commercial banking license builds out a whole the product suite for us. We can meet the needs of our clients, and you can see it because we have a strong retail base, and therefore, as a result of that strong retail base, and we have built out a corporate presence also, and now building on the SME space. We have to be able to offer solutions for our clients, not only commercial banking, but private equity, capital market opportunities, structuring. But the commercial banking is it's a foundation product for us. The transactional account, our easy access account, we have standardized our banking platform over Trinidad and Jamaica and are about to standardize our banking platform processes and procedures over all 3 countries. So when we roll out a product, we roll it out over 3 countries. And when we roll out our policies are consistent over all 3 countries. Our job descriptions so we are building efficiencies with banking. And based on who we are and what we are in terms of our client base is not necessarily that transactional account, because JMMB was founded on clients with investments coming from I would say from middle income and upwards. So therefore, our own the behavior of that client is a different behavior from maybe at the lower income end, which is highly more transactional. These clients, they're in jobs, they're highly credit worthy, and therefore, if you look at the growth of our loan portfolio and growth of our net interest income, and we have a low fees policy at our commercial bank. So therefore, we are seeing significant growth in our commercial banks right across the region, Jamaica, Trinidad, and our savings and loan institution. So it's key. I mean, maybe 3-4 years ago, banking was maybe about 5 to 10% of our overall profit. It's now at 26% and growing.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for that. And what do you think are the growth prospects for the group in this current climate?
Well, as we say, we are out there. We have an active business development portfolio. I actually have online our Group Chief Strategy Officer, Claudine Tracy, and she manages that pipeline of investments and acquisition opportunities for us. And we have a healthy pipeline, and she keeps us all busy looking at the various opportunities. And we have some closer than some, but we can't tell you yet. Right, but we do have we are almost there.
Excellent. Gary, any further questions from you?
Yeah, I have an interesting one because it's a question a lot of people have asked. It starts out as a governance question and it will end with a potential capital markets transaction. So,
all right.
the Proven owns somewhere around 20% of JMMB. JMMB owns 22.5% of Align Invest. Align Invest owns about 100% of Sagicor, and Sagicor primarily owns insurance companies, but in Jamaica they own commercial banks and investment banks.
Yes.
Proven competes with JMMB, JMMB competes with Sagicor. So it's two questions. One, what's your governance structure around that? And two, I mean, is there a potential wrap-up of this thing? I mean, just combine everything into one.
Yeah. So there's
hold on, yes to which one? Because I can arrange the second one.
You might have to, okay?
No problem. I'll charge a good fee.
There's always that opportunity, Gary. There's always that opportunity. That opportunity is on the table all the time, and it's something we continue to evaluate, and that's something that we will, but JMMB as a standalone group continues to do well and make its own acquisitions and build size, right? So whenever we come to the table with whoever we come to the table at, we come from a position of strength.
Yes.
Right? And that's how we are. That is how we are positioning ourselves. At the end of the day, we have to establish that we are JMMB is the fastest growing regional outfit. The fastest growing regional outfit and the most agile. We have some work to do in that regard with our operation efficiency, our standardization of our platforms, policies, procedures across banking, investments, and centralizing our operations. We have some work to do, and it's a major opportunity for us to get that work done, to build some efficiencies, especially in this period of rapid digitization. Right? In terms of the governance question, Gary, well, where it is that Proven does not sit on our boards, right? Mm-hmm. They don't sit on our board, but we do have regular interactions where I will explain and give Chris and Chris Williams, give him some guidance as to where we are, what our strategies are, where we're going, and we have a really good relationship, and we continue to build that relationship, and there are always possibilities in that regard also. But for now, we are where we are. And we don't close our minds off the possibilities. For example, and with Sagicor, there's Sagicor Life, which is Eastern Caribbean, Trinidad, Barbados, and Suriname, etc. And St. Lucia and all of the Eastern Caribbean countries, probably all of those countries. We sit on those boards, and we sit on the Sagicor USA board, and we sit on the Sagicor Finance board. So it's Sagicor USA, Sagicor Jamaica, and there's Sagicor Life, which is the whole Eastern Caribbean and Southern Caribbean. So we sit on USA and Sagicor Group Board and Sagicor Life. And we recluse ourselves from the Jamaica board due to we're competitors.
Right.
But at the same time, we do collaborate where we can, you know what I mean, in creating value.
Right.
Thanks for that, Keith. Appreciate it. Chairman Berry, do you have any questions for Keith?
Sure. Are you hearing me this time?
Yes, we are.
Loud and clear.
So, Keith, I want your projection on the dollar for the December 2020.
What was the question? I'm barely hearing the question, but what was the question?
He says he's focusing on the fact that you used to be a trader, so I'm not asking you a CEO question. So the question is, where do you think the dollar is going to be at the end of December 2020? The US dollar relative to Jamaica. And why?
No, I think the dollar is range bound. I think it's anywhere between 143 to 147, 148, and it's going to bounce in that region. The fact is that imports are really down. If you look at the
balance of
customs, the custom duty numbers in the overall and from revenues, they're significantly down, like 20 or 30%, right? So the demand for the dollar is not as high as we thought. There was a little anxiety earlier in the after COVID, but I think that things have settled down quite nicely. We still have inflows. Remittances are up like 40% year over year, and the business process outsourcing area continues to grow. At the beginning of the year, and when the first budget was framed, there was a balance of payment, a balance of trade deficit program of $1 billion. And the IMF rapid financing instrument brought in $520 million, and we do have more than enough reserves, gross international reserves of over $3.8 billion, net international reserves of $2.7 billion. So we have enough reserves to really manage ourselves through this crisis, and the reserves will decline. However, we're not seeing the sharp purchases in the market. I'm not seeing it, and the central bank is doing a much better job without having to intervene as frequently as it had to before.
Good
So
point.
that's the range for me, Chris. 143 to 147. Boy, Katie, your trading days no rub off to rot. You're not rusty at all, man.
Boss.
Good deal. Speaking about impacts of COVID and what we think about the exchange rate, I'm curious to appreciate which revenue segments have been affected the most by the impact of COVID-19 and which has seen vast improvement.
Well, in the first quarter, we all know what happened to asset prices in the first quarter, right? Asset prices fell off significantly. So gain on securities traded would have been affected. Our NII and our continue to grow because there was increased margins for that period as there was increased liquidity, and so we had increased margins, and our NII grew significantly by about 20% for that first quarter. However, our gain on securities traded, our active trading portfolio, we normally would make about $2 billion a quarter. I think we made like $800-900 million for that first quarter, and therefore we were only able to book $780 million of profit in the first quarter. As I said, the market has looked up since then. We know what has happened. Asset prices, they have rebounded. The market is actively trading, and therefore we continue to get back to normal. So therefore, I would say that all our business lines are now doing what they're supposed to do.
Excellent. Happy to hear that. Really happy to hear that. Okay, Keith, we have a few questions from our online community. Let me give you the first one, which comes in from Graham Jervis. I think that's Jervis Graham, actually.
Right.
Keith, if the company is offering tremendous value, will JMMB initiate a share buyback program to enhance shareholder value?
Well, that's a good question, and that could be a good plan. But I'll put that on the table with our business development group, and have a conversation around that with our board finance committee. Good suggestion. It's a good suggestion. We're going to take a look at it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll thank Jervis Graham for that. Second one comes in from a very satisfied corporate customer by the name of Gordon Swaby. That name sounds familiar. And he asks, I'd love to see some technology improvements, specifically for
Yeah.
Moneyline. Is a mobile app or something like that something you guys are planning?
Yes. We have the mobile app coming up in the first quarter, or I think in the first or the second quarter of next year. Claudine can remind me. And we are consistently upgrading our Moneyline app. We had some difficulties over the last couple of weeks. After we standardized on the Trinidad platform, we had some hiccups, but we had to settle down our Terminus platform. It has been settled down. It impacted our corporate Moneyline, but we have settled down quite nicely, and we're looking to continue upgrades to Moneyline. And we have the real-time trading, and we're rolling out intelligent ATMs, and but the digital is our focus. We actually separated our digital group, and now we have a digital group which is headed by Mr. Gifford Rankin, and we have given him all the resources that they require to drive the digitization of JMMB, not only of our products and our services, but our processes. And therefore, we expect that we were focused very much on our standardizing our platform as a baseline for really ramping up our digital. COVID has given us that opportunity, and we're now ready to look to really leapfrog on the digital side. We have our Innovation 10X, which is led by Sheldon Poe, our former CIO, and Innovation 10X is there to look into the ecosystem, the future of banking, where is payments going. So we have some work to do to catch up and to leapfrog the market. The plan is to leapfrog the market.
Excellent.
That's always a plan.
Excellent.
But we found ourselves a little bit behind here.
Excellent, excellent. Next question, which lines up with that, comes from Damali Morgan. He's asking, with the increased focus on digitization in the finance industry, how does JMMB plan to cope with the increased data and privacy risk exposure?
But I would say, we have a security, our security division of our information technology area is quite strong. And when we're going through a budget process, this guy always have the heaviest ask, right? And our board risk committee and our IT steering committee, I think we do put significant resources behind security. And so therefore we have not had any kind of cyber attack. We haven't experienced anything like that. We continue to be very vigilant in that area.
Very good. Next question comes from a good friend, Paul Simpson, who's asking about recent comments about 5G technology and how this could potentially impact Jamaican banks. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, that is a very sensitive question. Ask Paul what he thinks on it.
I agree with you, Keith. Paul trying to get you to do his work.
Right.
Paul, you heard it here. That question was rejected. Paul's a very good friend, so we're just teasing. Paul Simpson.
Paul is a very good friend of mine also. We're on WhatsApp all the time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But
great guy.
Tell him he can WhatsApp me the answer, and I would say it on his behalf.
Absolutely. Send me the WhatsApp, Paul. I'm looking out for it very quickly. Chairman, any more questions from you?
I'm good. My audio on this side isn't so good, so I'm going to just sit on the side for now.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that, Chairman. Gary, any more questions from you?
Oh, I have one final question because, an interesting thing is developing, Keith, and I'm interested in your view. A lot of people are prepared for the worst with COVID, but we're starting to see numbers coming out. So we've seen blockbuster results from Jamaica Broilers, Caribbean Cement. You have indicated that JMMB's numbers are coming back nicely. What's the projection for growth of the country that you see? I mean, are we going to have a situation similar to the U.S. back in the day where they call it a jobless recovery? There are a lot of job layoffs, but the technological advances are putting
Yeah.
companies in a position where you don't have to replace them. Yeah. So the question fundamentally to you, given what you're seeing, how do you see the impact on GDP for next year in total and probably for the end of this year?
Yeah. Well, the government of Jamaica, the PIOJ, and the Bank of Jamaica are projecting a negative growth of 7.9%. For the first quarter, we had negative growth of negative 18.4%. So for us to get to 7.9% annualized means that the economic activity has to pick up over the rest of the year.
Right.
And therefore, what we're seeing, though, is in sectors, we're seeing performance in various sectors. We're seeing companies really being able to benefit from efficiency. But we're, in terms of the overall economic activity, what we are seeing in the tax revenue numbers, for example, on the PAYE numbers are actually up year over year. What that means is that anybody earning over $1.5 million, they have not been laid off, and they're still purchasing power right there. Where the impact is in the informal sector and those that are earning below 1.5. Where the impact is with tourism and the linkages to tourism. And but we have seen construction up. And I mean, a lot of that is from the diaspora, remittances, etc. People are spending in other areas than they used to spend. So they're spending more on their homes in terms of modifications to their homes, etc. So that's where we're seeing like a Carib Cement with the well, the distributors, the hardwares, and everyone would be doing well because people are focused on staying at home and doing the work around their homes. And as I said, remittances are up. We have seen it in the numbers. Our remittance company, Jamaica Money Transfer, we have seen the numbers up significantly year over year in terms of transaction volumes and numbers and everything. So will the economy hit 7.9% is the big question. There is tourism is going to drive that question. Tourism represents 31% and its linkages of our economy, and its linkages, and downstream from tourism, and over 34% of employment. And therefore, the recovery of tourism is going to be very important. That we have a decent winter season. In July, August, and September, we saw tourism arrivals totaling 114,000. Last year, we did over 600,000. This year, we did 114,000 for that same period. We're projecting now that, and in speaking to tourism interest, they are looking at maybe around a 35% winter season occupancy. We're now at 10 to 15% for hotels that are open. So we have to make that experience seamless and safe. The resilient corridor has worked quite nicely in terms of there's very little transmission of the virus in the corridor. So it has worked nicely, but can we get the visitor over their fear of flying? Can we get the airlines to do the testing? What is it that will make that visitor comfortable in flying? We have dropped the COVID approval app, where people have to go in and ask for and submit their tests, etc. That's no longer there. So we're getting that seamless experience. We have the of traveling, but what will get that visitor to jump on that plane and go and visit the destination, while in their own home market they're facing community transmission and so what we know is that the Jamaica Tourist Board will look to ramp up promotions after the November elections, after the presidential elections. So we're hoping that we can see some good forward bookings coming in. That will determine if we can hit that negative 7.9% target as articulated by the BOJ.
Thanks, Keith.
Thanks for that, Keith. Really appreciate that. One more question from online, and it comes in from David Rose. Does JMMB intend to expand its investment product offering in other managed funds similar to their select equity fund that they once had?
Definitely. We are, because we're regional, and we have our unit trust in Trinidad, and we have our mutual funds in the DR. In the DR, we actually have a REIT, and the return on that REIT is in US terms is somewhere around 8 to 9%. Now we have to be able to bring that REIT home to Jamaica and you know, what we have one group, one client, one experience. So we need to be cross-selling all our group products, and that's where we want to be, and that's why we need to standardize our platforms, even on the investment side, so we can sell a diversified product suite to our clients from a DR, from Jamaica, from Trinidad, and from whatever markets. But we do have plans to roll out you know, more aggressive funds and otherwise, and funds regional, based on regional assets.
Makes good sense. Really makes good sense. Thanks for that, Keith.
And
Really
if David want to come and manage one, he can.
Excellent. Appreciate that. During this segment, as we wrap up, we usually ask for top picks. I'm going to start with Gary. Gary, tell us what your top pick is for this week.
My top pick for this week is Caribbean Cement. The results are stellar. It is showing the resilience in the economy, and as Keith indicated, for you to move from GDP contraction of 18% to 7.9, you need, in essence, some growth. What we're seeing is that growth is coming from the construction sector, and I believe you'll have some follow-on for cement. So cement company is my pick for this week.
Yep, I saw their quarter results come out as the earnings season starts, and it was really impressive. I was very impressed with Carib Cement's earnings results.
For the record, Mayberry has a position in Caribbean.
Yeah,
we're the fourth largest shareholder in Caribbean.
We're known to be a top 10 shareholder in many companies.
There you go. It's always good to disclose.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Keith, I'm going to ask you for your top pick for the week, but let me give you mine first, just in case it surprises you. For me, it's actually, believe it or not, JMMB. Why? As Keith said, it has a 9 times PE ratio in a market where its average peers PE ratio is 14 times. So I think this stock is undervalued by about 40% at $30. As we mentioned earlier, they raised $12.3 billion last year at 38, and that was oversubscribed by more than 7 billion. Nothing has changed, folks. The fundamentals remain the same, and I think JMMB is a great pick, at a great buy at $30. In fact, it's a great buy at $38. So I agree with Keith, go out and buy it. So it's a little redundant, but I will ask you, Keith, do you have any other top picks you'd like to recommend?
Well, I would, when I look at where Mayberry is trading, and I do expect that our economy will recover and recover significantly, and I do expect that we're going to make some good investments in this country that enhance productivity, digitization, NIDS, digitization of electronic platforms. You know, there is a focus around that area, broadband connectivity, and I believe the Jamaican economy will improve significantly, and therefore I believe Mayberry, where Mayberry is trading now, is exciting stuff, right? You should be buying Mayberry at this point in time if you think that Jamaica is going to recover. And I believe and I know that Jamaica will recover and recover stronger.
Thank you, Keith. Mayberry is the only financial institution that is trading below book value.
Yep, it has a price to book below 1, and the second lowest price to book is JMMB. You heard it here.
Yep.
Chairman, we wish we could ask you for your top pick, but I heard we lost you, so we apologize for that. Keith, please stay with us despite our close. Folks, thanks again for joining us for another exciting investor forum. It was an honor to have Keith with us. Keith, thanks for joining us. To our viewers out there, thank you for being a part of this week's virtual investor forum. I'd also like to thank our special guest, Keith Duncan, for providing his insights into the market and that top pick of MIL plus JMMB. And Gary, thanks for Carib Cement, all great picks. We're certainly looking forward to having another insightful discussion next week. Stay tuned. Watch our social media pages as we tell you what we're going to be doing next week. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, Instagram. We really do appreciate it. Remember to subscribe if you can. And I'd like to encourage everybody to keep safe. And Gary, I'll let you close with your usual recommendation.
No, well, as I said, it's Carib Cement.
Excellent, appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. And remember, wise investors, slow and steady wins the race. Thank you.